We are live, slightly later than normal, but you know. So we're not going to start with Costume Corner though. We have to start with Steel City update. What would that be? Would that be troops? Was that a troop for you, or just were you unofficial?
I could say it's a troop because I scampered on into the PR picture.
Nice.
But yeah, I think this is just kind of like a unofficial thing.
So it was crowded, as you're saying?
Oh my God, it was a nightmare. You couldn't walk through the main concourse at all.
Like, well, I know December seems to be the roughest of all of them when it comes to being crowded. Like it's just in general, because that December you and I went, that was pretty crowded then too. Not as bad as what you're saying, but it was pretty close.
Yeah, and honestly, it was the celebrities. They had too many high-profile celebrities and not enough space.
I don't know how they're getting all of them. Like it used to be they'd have one or two good ones, and the rest you'd be like, eh. And now it's like it's just half or more, or
Well, because they had the National Lampoon Christmas Vacation reunion.
Yep.
They had a lot of high-profile wrestlers. The big draw being the Undertaker, which he was the reason that it sold out.
Oh, really?
And he was also the reason that it got opened up for more tickets at like 4:00 because he was only there for half the day. And then like at like 3 or 4 o'clock, you hear over the loudspeaker like, "Hey, the Undertaker is going to be over in the hotel signing more autographs. We convinced him to stay longer." It's like, oh, okay. Nice. And then you had like Michael Biehn. You had a bunch of Cobra Kai guys. The guy who played Bishop in Aliens, I can't remember his name now.
Is that Lance Henriksen?
Lance Henriksen.
How old is he?
He
wasn't young when that came out.
I think he's got to be in his 70s.
Yeah, he looked old. But yeah, it was nuts. But Dad had an absolute blast. He was so excited. Like talked about it the entire way home.
Nice. Yeah, he was cranking up. Like he had the posture and everything, man. He was. We need to get Toga to do a Death Trooper, and then he can walk around with your dad.
I know. I was telling my dad because I introduced my dad to Toga, because we were walking up like through the parking lot and like his he had like a suitcase cart that he was using to haul his kit boxes in, and it just spilled over, and it was so funny because I was like, Toga, come on, man. And I think I don't think he knew it was me at first. And then he realized I was helping him load his stuff back up. So but yeah, no, I was telling my dad, like, yeah, we're trying to get Toga to do Vader, Chewbacca, or a Wookiee.
Well, he has a Wookiee.
Death Trooper. Does he?
Yeah, he has the Wookiee Jedi. From
Gunji?
Not Gunji. There was one with an eye patch.
Oh, gotcha.
And he does that, and he literally has like just little lifts in his feet.
But yeah,
and for the record, Lance Henriksen is 82.
82. Yeah.
Not 70. I was off by a decade.
Well, no, because I was thinking when I saw Alien, Alien was what, 1980?
79, I thought.
79? Mm-hmm. So I saw it on TV or something, and I was still in high school. So I was like, all right, that's but yeah, Toga's always good at Steel City. You can always find him. Yeah. That's why I like trooping with him, and when Marty's in Chewie, you can just look at the crowd. There they are.
Yeah, we were getting ready to leave. And my dad's like, "Oh, do you want to say goodbye to your friend?" And I'm like, "I don't know. It's kind of crowded. I don't know if we're going to be able to find him." And I just turn my head down the aisle, and I just see his head popping out over the crowd. I'm like, "Oh, well, there he is."
Your dad would love a trip to Toga's place. Remember that tour we got?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was telling him all about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Dad had a great time. That was the best part.
Does your dad feel like his Star Wars world has been opened up into a whole nother door?
Well, he met R2D2, so yeah.
Oh, I wonder if that was Zach's. Did you meet Zach?
I didn't.
Oh, okay.
It was someone from the what is New York's garrison?
Northeast Remnant.
Well, there's that, and I thought there was
Empire City.
Empire City. I thought.
Well, the droids, it could be a different. There's the Northeast Droid Builders, and
well, he was 501st because he was wearing a 501st Racing shirt.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I wish I would have gotten his name, but
yeah. Well, like I said, Zach, I saw Zach was there because he was hanging with the he had a Phasma helmet or something. He was holding a bunch of times. I saw pictures with him, and because he's the head of Star Killer, and then I saw Phasma was there.
Yep,
she's in Ohio though, right? She's with you guys.
She transferred to Star Killer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe because she troops a lot in PA.
Probably. But yeah, because I was talking about Steel City, not last weekend, but the weekend before when I was at GalaxyCon, and they're like, "Oh, keep an eye out for Phasma," and I was like, "Oh, isn't she in our garrison though?" And they're like, "No, she transferred to Star Killer last year." Blah blah blah. And I forget what the story was, but
no, everyone has.
I think she moved.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool though. Yeah, I'm sad I missed it. My troop got canceled anyway too, because I was going to make up for it, and I was going to do a parade, and it was just pouring down rain, and they just canceled it. So my Delaware troop, but then so Saturday, me and Zoe decided to go up and see Jordan. So that's a 3-hour and 15-minute drive, and that's it's not fun driving. It's like, except for I do like the Jersey. What's the one, Ken, that like trucks can't drive on?
I think that's the Parkway.
Yeah, the New Jersey Parkway. I like that because you can get on that. You don't got to worry about trucks beating you down.
I think it's that, or maybe it's the.
It's just like the turnpike for cars only. So, but that was it. He had tons of loose figures. Me and Zoe were helping him sort weapons.
I want to get some Tuscans. I just picked up a Black Series 6-inch Tuscan, but I want to get some more 3 3/4-inch Tuscans.
Oh, cool. Oh yeah, I got to look for that fabric for you, Ken. I looked inside. I think it's out in the garage.
Okay. Because I just was wondering, because that's the fabric I used for my helmet.
Yeah.
And I figure if you have any of it left, I could use that same color to wrap my boots with.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think, what did I do with that? That was just Rit dye, I believe. Or no, was that tea?
I thought you teed it.
I couldn't remember if that was tea or Rit.
Yeah, I thought you teed that stuff.
I might have teed that. I don't know. I use them interchangeably. So
I'm still trying to find out if Ark is going to get us into the Inflatable Falcon or not.
Right.
He said that he's got that friend who's got one.
Yeah. So that's all the troop time. I know, other than the missing Steel City. You know, Steel City itself doesn't put a bunch of pictures out though. Like their marketing is weird.
Yet it always draws a crowd.
Oh, I know. Well, it's me and Zoe were talking about it driving to Jersey, and it's because it's like an experience. Like you're stuck there. Like you have to you either go one day and go home, or you stay there and you just hang. It's Steel City 24 hours. Like if you go to some of these other cons after hours, it's hard. It's as closest that we have is like Dragon Con and Celebration in this area. Like you're just kind of trapped there.
I don't know. I haven't been to it, but I don't know if I would put it in the same classification as those two things.
Well, Safi likes it better in Celebration. It's I think the difference, I don't think it's as good as Celebration, but I think, you know, like when you're in Celebration mode, you're Celebration 24 hours. And it's part of it. It's like in Anaheim, it was really nice because it's kind of the location. You kind of have that area, and everyone in the area is going there. And Steel City is the same way. Like you have that DoubleTree, which they got to put more rooms in that because they can't but all the hotels and you kind of just hang in that area. But if it's getting crowded again, they're going to have to rethink their. They might have to do it 6 times a year or something like that. I don't know.
What was your dad's favorite picture that he got taken at the event?
I think it was the 501st picture.
Nice.
I think it was just the group shot.
Now, what would keep that clinic from being approved?
The one thing right now is we haven't submitted it yet. But I think the one thing right now that is going to be the snaps holding it together, because when you turn to the side, you can kind of see them.
Oh, okay.
It's either going to be that or the boots.
He doesn't have to change his hairstyle, like or wear a wig or anything like that.
No, his hair is gray enough. So, because it's like the way the CRL describes it is moderate graying.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'm seeing if you reminded me. I got to check and see if it's booked for April. It is already completely full for April.
Yep. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's nuts. But yeah, I did just have a realization though. So that was my dad's first con ever.
Really? Yeah.
He and I both did the exact same costume for our first convention.
There you go. That's funny.
That just hit me.
That's funny.
So.
Well, that's cool, though. That's
what a
something.
Copycat.
Right. Not to mention he stole my costume.
Hey, well, it saves you from getting anything for Christmas.
True. That is true.
I got your card. This very nice Christmas card.
I was gonna say that as well.
Yeah, I was doing the 501st. Because I signed up for the holiday card exchange.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, well, may as well send one out to everybody. So
what stamp did you get, Mike? I got C3PO.
I don't know. I have to go back and look. I forget.
I think it was Chopper.
Yeah, I think it was Chopper. I was going to say Chopper, but then I got a couple other people that sent me, and I couldn't remember the stamp. So, well, let's troop time. Here's my question. So, when was each of yours first con of any sort, Ken?
Oh, that one's hard because
describe it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember my first convention, but I do remember an early one that I went to with Heather and the boys, and that was an event in Philadelphia, and it was Wizard World Philadelphia actually.
Oh, okay.
It was before they changed it over to Fan Fest or something like that.
Yeah, there was.
And I think it was the same event where Heather almost got knocked down by Chris Hemsworth.
Oh,
so not on purpose. I mean, she was walking down the aisle and was talking to me, and then turned around and bumped into him. So, and he's a pretty tall guy.
Yeah,
because Heather's only 5'2" or something like that. But my first celebration was Celebration Anaheim in 2015, and Heather bought tickets for the family to go out there to help celebrate my 40th birthday.
Nice.
That was incredible. So we spent a whole day at Disneyland. Went back to the hotel. Heather and the boys went to sleep. I walked back to the convention center, stayed overnight so that I could get into the opening panel. And it was just so incredibly cool.
How about yours, John? What was your first con?
My first con was also Wizard World. It was Wizard World Cleveland 2017. Literally the Friday beforehand, my buddy was like, "Hey, I'm going to this convention in Cleveland. Do you want to go?" And I was like, "I've never been." So I got a white bed sheet and a white button down, and then like the pill separators.
Yeah.
You can put all your pills in a different day. I painted one red and one blue and taped that to my chest, and I went as Director Krennic. So
nice.
So your dad's costume was kind of an upgrade.
Just a touch.
I think you need to do a commemorative card with your dad on one side and you on the other, a first con card.
That's a good idea. That is a good idea. But yeah, my first celebration will be Celebration London 2023 when we all go.
Nice.
When Zoe gets us on with the.
Hopefully I'll know in January. I'm going to message some of my people over Christmas break. So.
Well, drop the Beskar bucket in there too while you're at it.
Well, if they get us tickets, because Jordan doesn't even have tickets yet. I was talking to Jordan because I was like, because he offered me to work his stand last time in Anaheim, and when it was going to be in the summer, I was like, yeah, I'll work your stand for you. But if you get something for London, I'm not too proud, man. I'll go. So my first con was probably in 1987, right? And back then they called them comic book conventions. And the King of Prussia used to have 4 times a year, right? Where there's King of Prussia Mall near us. They used to have it in a Holiday Inn in one of the giant ballrooms. And it literally was just comic books and maybe some games, and that was it. There was no one in costume, nothing. I thought I was cool because I'd show up in a Shazam shirt because you couldn't find a Shazam shirt. They'd be like, "Hey, Flash!" I'm like, "No, it's Shazam." And
sure wasn't Black Adam.
No, it was Shazam. It was good old Shazam, and they would and it was $3 to get in, and I literally had a little tiny notebook with a list of all the comic books I was looking for, and I would spend about 6 hours just going from vendor to vendor, and then if you were patient enough, they would draw your ticket for your $3 ticket. They would call your ticket number and you might win something. And usually it was like con dollars, like, oh, here's $20 gift certificate to spend anywhere on the con, and if you waited, sometimes, like, especially if you went to a Sunday con, you could buy a whole long box of comics for like $3 because the guys just didn't want
$3.
Oh yeah, they'd be like, how much? They'd be like $3, take the whole box, but you couldn't look through it. They're just like, take it, and you'd get half the time I'd get decent ones, but I just wanted the box because the box was worth,
it was worth $6.
Yeah,
it's funny that you say winning stuff because that one Wizard World that I was talking about. So we bought raffle tickets at the Mandalorian Mercs booth,
and
they were doing drawings every day, and I won one of the drawings, and so I got a framed Boba Fett poster, nice. And some of the Mercs wrote their name, not their names, but their Mercs number on it.
Nice, that's cool.
And I got some other Star Wars prizes, other like toys and things like that. Yeah, and that's held at the Philadelphia Convention Center, so it's a fairly big event.
Yeah. Well, the ones we used to go to, I used to take my cousin, because I was like first year college, and my cousin he was probably like 8th or 9th grade, so he was the only one I knew at the time that collected comic books besides me. So, and I remember he was a big Thor guy, and the guy who was doing the Thor comic book, who had done it for years, was there at the one convention, and it was 75 cents for his autograph. Like, you would
not even a full dollar.
You would buy the 75-cent comic book. He would take the comic book, draw a picture, and write his name and thank you for reading the comic book. That was it. And he just had a stack of Thors, so it's just weird because it's just such a different animal now.
My heart is Thor just hearing that story.
Well, and there was times Missy used to go with me, and and she still stayed dating me, which is bizarre. But there were times that she was the only female there, like not exaggeration or like she literally was the only female in the play.
Did anybody ask if she was lost?
No, but she was the best. She was the best person to take for comic book grading of books, because as a fan, you get blinded to flaws. You know, I'd be like, look at this amazing, and she'd look through it. She's like, look, that staple's bent, that's rusty. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, okay. You know,
so she was judgy.
Huh? Yeah. Well, hey, you know.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So yeah, the cons were, and I told you my costuming story from the Phantom Menace, right?
Oh, not that I remember.
So we were just married. We were married in '94. So the Phantom Menace was coming out, and I worked at the time. I worked at a Chevy garage, and I got tickets for opening day. And she said, "Oh, do you want me to dress up and do my hair like Princess Leia?" And I said, "I don't want people to think that we're those weirdos that dress up."
Yeah. Little did she know then that you were going to have an entire house filled with stuff.
So it's just funny. It's just funny how things, and I think part of that back then, I went through the years of where, you know, there was a stigma not only on the playground but in life. If you liked comic books, if you played D&D, if you liked Star Wars, and I pretty much hit all the check boxes for, you know, the satanic panic, the over nerdiness, everything, you know. So
that's awesome.
Wow.
Now, do you guys think COVID saved conventions?
How do you mean?
See, I felt like conventions were starting to get a little played out. It seemed like a lot of the people I knew that really liked going, even with Celebration, it seemed like people were just getting tired, either financially, physically, or a little bit of both. There just seemed like there were so many, and then we got that break from them, and it seemed like it rejuvenated people's desire to go back.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting thought, because what I'm seeing now at conventions is and I don't know if it was always this way, but it seems like there are some folks there because they are truly interested in either the people that are there or the things that you can get at those conventions. And then on the other end of that, there are folks there who I think are just there to make the money in an effort to make money. Because I've seen people push through crowds to get to the item.
Right.
And then they walk away with like 6 of them or whatever. And I can't, you know, as much as I collect stuff, I don't collect them in bulk.
Right.
So
that's called inventory when you buy too many of them.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's just because I'm overly sensitive to that stuff now, watching for that sort of behavior, that I feel that way, or what.
Yeah, I mean, it just seemed to me, and I know my personal, maybe it's one of the reasons I like Celebration and even Steel City to a point. I find myself really not looking at what's for sale. It's usually when I'm looking at stuff, I'm usually looking at it in between meeting up with people. You know what I mean? Like sometimes at Steel City, I'm like, well, I'm just going to go look just because I haven't, and I feel like an idiot if I haven't at least looked at what people have. But most of it, I find myself looking for people. Like I always refer to it, but that time it was John, Safi, Marty, and that kid, I can't remember his name, that was Boba Fett that we just picked up on. That was some of the most fun I ever had at a con, because we were just rolling through taking pictures with people, you know. And Ken, when you and I were hanging out at, what was that, FanFest? Yeah, that was just I was having so much fun. I forgot to get a picture with the that woman that wrote the one book, Star Wars book, that had her own little booth.
Claudia Gray.
I forgot because Zoe loved her books, and we talked to her, and we were just having so much fun. We forgot to say, "Hey, can we get a picture with you?" You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I tried explaining that to my dad on Saturday, and because we were walking out, and he's like, "Oh, did you see anything that you liked?" And I was like, "I'm gonna be honest with you. First off, I can't see anything in the Kylo helmet. Second of all, I told him, like, I don't think I looked at one booth more than a passing glance.
Yeah.
So unless he was looking at something in particular, and I plucked my helmet off, he was like, "What do you mean? Like that's the whole point of being here." I'm like, "No. I am here to look at the costumes."
Yeah.
So.
Missy even likes on Sunday at Steel City. She used to like and she would just sit in and watch all the costume contests because that's relatively new. They didn't have it the first couple of years we were there when we started going, which was I want to say it was 2012, maybe when we started going to Steel City, somewhere around then. Yeah, Zoe was like in 7th or 8th grade, I forget. Steel City in December always fell on the day Zoe's concert was that Friday night. So we were always like, okay, we'll just get you in your concert clothes and we'll just leave straight for Steel City. And we would always get to Steel City at like midnight. We'd get to the DoubleTree. And like the one time I just pulled in and Missy said, "Hey, that's Eric Estrada." And he's just sat out and chain smoked outside the DoubleTree all weekend. him and Skippy. So
yeah, I haven't been to enough events to go there to meet up with folks. I mean, hanging out with you and Zoe was probably the most hanging out I've done. And I've gone to, to them as a costumer to go with the Mercs, and even before I was an official member, I would go and be a handler at them. But I just, as much as I love the idea of going there and spending time with like-minded folks and getting to catch up, it hasn't played out that way.
Well, my first 6 or 7 years, I was just known as the guy who brought the Jawas. So, because they'd be like, "Oh, hey," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm Mike. I'm TK5." They'd look, "Oh, my kids are the Jawas." Oh, okay. Yeah. So I was like, "Oh, okay. Thank you." So, but yeah, Toga, like Toga's always out there. Toga was always great to have out. So
yeah, it was nice running into him 2 weekends in a row.
2 weekends in a row, right?
Yeah, just kind of like, because I told you guys last week, it was like, yeah, I was just entering Columbus, and I just see Toga's name pop up in our group chat, and I'm like, that's random.
How many Togas are there?
Yeah,
right.
Well, so. I just remember when the girls from Charmed were trying to pick him up. That was at Steel City. So they were. He's still not talking about that, but it was Shannon Doherty and the other girl. Like I think they would have threw down over Toga. And then it was the Sunday Steel City. I had line duty for Anthony Daniels, and they were sitting about 10 feet from me, and I almost got drunk smelling them. Shannon Doherty and the other one from whatever they were doing the night before. So, but that's cool.
Actually, that brings us to another interesting part of Troop Time. So, what other instances or situations have you been in with celebrities at these kind of events?
I almost got tackled by Jerry the King Lawler on Saturday. Does that count?
That's good.
Yeah, that's right up there.
Yeah, he was just walking by us, and I just sidestepped out of the way, and I had I had that Ohio reaction where like, oh wait, that was Jerry Lawler that just walked by us, and my dad's like, who? I'm like, Jerry the King Lawler from WWE.
Oh,
and he's
the King, yeah.
I always thought he was the Prince, but yeah.
Yeah, and the funny thing is like, it took me saying like, yeah, he's a Browns fan, right? For him to be like, is he really? Like, oh my god, I didn't know that. Like, and he finally started to talk up about it. But yeah, not the first time I have been like wrong place, wrong time with a famous person and almost getting run over.
I've never almost been run over. I got tons of Steel City, but two of my favorite Steel Cities, well, 3 is when Henry Winkler literally was talking to Zoe for like 10 minutes, giving her life advice. That was just nice. We were just walking around, on a Sunday morning, I think, and then I think it was either that same con or right after is when Gary Busey gave the girls life advice. And he's smoking the biggest cigar I've ever seen. He was sitting outside. They have at Steel City, there's this little side door that the celebrities go in and out of. And he was just sitting on a metal chair smoking the world's largest stogie. And he saw the girls walk, and we just kept our distance because we were giving him his private. He wasn't on the clock, so we were walking. And
you weren't giving him his distance because it's Gary Busey.
No. It was just when I'm at Steel City, if the guys are sitting there at the door, I usually try to just give them space because they're not doing their thing. I try to be. I'm not one of those people that's going to badger someone for a free autograph when I could just walk in and pay for it. And but he called him over. He said, "Hey, are you guys Star Wars?" And then he just started giving him this rambling life advice. And when we were walking away, I said, "Whatever he just told you, just do the exact opposite." And then when I got photobombed by Debbie Gibson, that's probably it was the guy from Cobra Kai, Billy Zabka, and I were taking a picture, and we got photobombed by Debbie Gibson. That's when it pays not to drink, because I used to troop Steel City, and I'd always be in costume Sunday morning when everyone else was hammered, and so. And some of the celebrities that were in early, I just walk around in my TK, and they'd call you over and get pictures with you and stuff.
That's one of the reasons I do like going to the events early. I have a friend who's an art vendor, and there's been a couple of times that we've come in early just to hang out with her while she's setting up for the day or whatever. And it is nice when the celebrities will come by and check out the booths when the crowds aren't thick or whatever. And so we've met a bunch of folks that way. And for whatever reason, Heather has the knack of having folks remember her. So whether it was, Tony Todd from Candyman, or, Danny Trejo, or even, Ray Park or whatever, they'll remember Heather, even though I was with her the whole time. And I'm like,
she's there because you're with you. She's
yeah. So maybe I'm just her, maybe I'm just her arm candy or whatever, but her trophy husband.
Well, I had fun with you, Ken. We were talking to Ashley Eckstein's husband.
Yeah, he's so nice.
I know. I know nothing about baseball. I know him as Ashley Eckstein's husband. I don't know what he played for. I know nothing. But I think because he's a ball player and I'm a guy, he probably thinks you know what I mean? I feel.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, he was MVP one year, I thought.
You know what? Seriously, after Mike Schmidt, I don't remember. I don't know anything about baseball.
He played what, the 80s, Mike Schmidt?
Yeah. Tug McGraw, or no. Tug McGraw, Mike Schmidt, and Pete Rose. That's the only baseball names I know. Reggie Jackson. There we go. That's my baseball name. So,
you've heard of Babe Ruth, I hope.
Babe Ruth. Yeah. Babe Ruth. But most of my Babe Ruth I heard from was Seinfeld.
That doesn't count.
He was the World Series MVP of 2006.
There you go.
Yeah.
See?
It was with the Oakland A's, right?
Yeah, sure.
I've got pictures with
the St. Louis Cardinals.
I've got pictures with him the last celebrations I was at, and then when we were in Philly, he always looks at me just a little weird, and then he's like, "Okay."
There was one event, I don't remember which city in New Jersey it was at, but Daniel Logan was there, and Heather and I must have spent half an hour just talking with him.
Oh yeah,
just shooting the breeze like we were old pals. And then later on, and they're getting ready to pack up or whatever, and he came by. I said, "Hey, good to see you, Heather and that guy."
Yeah, well, one of the times I trooped at Steel City, I wound up running into the guy in the hotel that made his armor. They made Daniel a set of Boba Fett armor, and there was someone figured out that they could travel with Daniel Logan if they were his armor maker. So I don't know if there was anything, whatever. But I met the guy; he was really nice. But we, and so we got to talking, and he had it was just fun to see him, and he winds up recognizing Zoe. So it's I don't know. I'm glad your dad got to go to a con. I mean, I get sad when I can't go with my kids. And family wise, it's just so much fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was a little disappointed that you guys couldn't make it. Because he wanted to meet the whole crew, but he still had a great time.
Yeah, I just, man, I can't, because I even thought of just driving out Saturday. I'm glad I didn't, or I wouldn't have got a ticket. But because I thought about that, but I was like, oh, that's like 6 hours. I was like, I don't know. Young Mike, if I was your age, John, I would have done it in a heartbeat. But man, my age is kicking my ass right now. I don't think it's my age. I think it's this school year is kicking my ass. But
don't worry, we're halfway there, give or take.
Oh yeah. Well, I just honestly, now that Zoe's back, I'm sleeping better, and I'm, you know what I mean. Like it's, and she has a plan for her triumphant return to LA. So we'll see how that all works out. So. So that was, yeah, I'm trying to think. Do we have, but yeah, again, with cons, I hope that, if I can't go to Celebration in London, which again, the chances are still super slim. I hope Celebration, I hope the next one's in Orlando. I really do. You know.
Well, if it is, would the two of you be up for a convoy?
Oh yeah, I will.
I talked my dad into going if it's in Orlando.
Okay.
See, I just hope when they do, if they do Orlando, please don't do it on a holiday weekend. I can save up all my personal days, but I can't use them on a holiday weekend. You know what I mean? Like I can't use them before and after, like contractually. It can be any other weekend. I just can't do it on a stupid holiday weekend. And it's been on Easter, I don't know how many times. I think it's on Easter.
Memorial Day last year.
Yeah, well, Memorial Day. The only reason I was allowed to use it was because, I asked a year and a half ahead, and I told them, look, my daughters are going out to LA, and we are going out here to help for Celebration, but to network as well. And so the principal's like, okay, so, and I only used like one day. Like we were zombies, man. I ran into some people there. And I had to apologize the next day. I'm like, hey, there's a phantom dog.
Nymeria is getting in on the action.
Oh, nice. But yeah, I'm definitely up for whatever, you know, because I mean, the nice thing about convoys is depending on when you go, you can almost get your trip paid for if you have room to take people's totes.
Yep, absolutely. That's what I was thinking.
Because there's been guys that are like, yeah, you know, just give me some gas money, and everyone gives you gas money, and this and that, and you're not charging anyone a lot of money, but it adds up quick. So
yeah, I don't care where the next celebration is. I don't care if it's the West Coast, if it's Kansas. I will go to the next U.S. celebration.
I'm curious what's going to happen because I don't know where the fandom is right now. You know, it's a weird. I keep hearing these people that are like, they act like they're not into it anymore, and I wonder what the numbers are going to show up at Celebration, like ticket wise, because the tickets for the last two celebrations sold out so ridiculously fast. You know, I think the one in Orlando, I waited, like when they were available, I waited almost 3 weeks to order mine and still got them all. The one in Anaheim, this past Anaheim, I ordered them 15 minutes late and I had to buy individual days. Yeah. So, and he, like, I just don't understand. So,
yeah, well, I wonder.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I wonder if it's because like now they're starting to land on like landmark days, where like Obi-Wan came out when Anaheim was going down. The Mandalorian is going to be starting when I think it's like the second or third week. I don't know. I think it's the finale of the Bad Batch is that weekend.
Yeah, I just know it's Easter. I luck out because they restructured our Easter break. They put we normally have days that are inclement weather days, So, and then if you have a lot of snow days, you don't have a spring break. Well, they finally decided, hey, well, that's kind of dumb because if families make plans, they're not coming to school anyway. Like we'd have to make up like the Friday before spring break. It'd be like half your students are gone, you know, because the parents booked it. So this year they fixed it that if I get to go to Celebration, I don't have to take any days. I can just go, you know. So yeah, I think it depends on the weekend, and it depends, you know, I don't know. It depends. From when I was talking to Jordan, he thinks that London is going to be the last one run by Reed Pop.
Really?
And it'll be run by Disney after that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So. Does Disney run its own? Do they run D23?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Or they have a sub company, or they have their own company. Like, because Reed Pop is still back from the old before Lucasfilm was owned by Disney. So it could be, which I like Reed Pop personally. So, but you know, I just wish they would either make it more often or something. I don't know. I hate when I hear people that haven't gone yet and they can't get tickets, but I don't care enough to give them my ticket. You know.
Yeah. All I know is I got to get my passport. If I manage to work out the logistics, I got to get a passport.
Yeah, I'm a pathetic person. You know what I got my passport for? Because there for a while I applied to every Survivor. Every season of Survivor. That's the only reason I got my passport.
Oh my God.
One of the things I love about these little get-togethers is there are the occasional nuggets that are unexpected and absolutely delightful.
Okay, can we detour down this alley, please, and talk a little bit more? This is
not a Survivor podcast.
You know what's sad is when I first applied for Survivor, you had to send your application in on a VHS tape.
Do you still have your audition tape?
Oh, I found them the other year. I deleted them. I deleted them permanently.
What?
No, I was like, these are terrible. I deleted them permanently. Because I think the first one I applied, I might not have even graduated from college yet. I think Zoe was like less than a year old. And I was just...
you were already trying to escape?
Yeah. No, I just...
You want to go live in a jungle because of your firstborn child?
No. Missy, if I ever got on that, she would kill me. She would like, no, you're not going. You know, like she would be like, because I don't think I would be. The hardest part for Survivor to me is, other than Missy went to Ireland once, I have not been away from my wife for any more than a week. That week when she went to Ireland in the 90s, I have not been away from her for more than a day since we started dating in 1987. You know, I don't think mentally I would survive, other than like when I went to Celebration. That was probably the longest I was away from her in decades.
That's impressive.
So, you know, and then when we got stuck with COVID, you know, when we were all stuck home, I loved it, because when me and her started dating, we worked at the same place and went to college at the same school. So we kind of got that speeded up relationship, you know, and we could have either crashed and burned or stuck together. So, you know. But yes, I applied for Survivor, and I'm thinking of doing it again. Now I'm at the other end. I'd be the old guy when I first started watching it. You know, when you guys ever watched the show Face Off?
Mm-hmm.
You would like it. No, it's Face Off. No, there's a reality show called Face Off.
Oh,
have you guys haven't seen that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you definitely look it up, because I'm going to rewatch it. I watch it. It's like a reality competition, similar to like Hell's Kitchen or anything like that, but it's costuming and prop making.
I did watch. Yeah, I did. Yeah, okay, that's what. Okay.
When we used to watch that, the girls would point out that the old guy was younger than me, because they'd always have that old guy, and he's like 42, and they're like, "Hey, Dad, he's young, he's younger than you." I was like, "Damn it!" So, but see, Survivor, I would be voted off as soon as you tell. I have so many strikes against me that I'd be like, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" "Oh, I'm a teacher." Okay, well then there's because teachers you either get a hot or cold. There's not too many middle of the road people with teachers, and they're like, "Oh, here's some food." "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm a vegan." Okay, that's another check. And then if they start praying and I say, "Oh, I'm an atheist," they'd be like, they'd ship me off like right away. They'd be like, "Get an extra boat and send them away." So,
yeah, I would never do good on any of those shows because I don't have the energy to be sneaky and conniving. And
the only thing that ever that intrigued me about those shows was, I think in the society we live in, it would almost be neat that everything that you're doing is condensed down to what you can see. You know what I'm saying? Like you just, because it would give you, as much as it would be a nightmare to do all that backstabbing and this and that, but almost everything you're worried about would be shrunk down for at least a short amount of time. But yeah, because you're away for, I think you're away for 45 days. I used to be in a Survivor fantasy league, like similar to fantasy football.
Hold on. That's a real thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Part 1. That's a real thing. Part 2. You were in it.
Well, there was a couple websites and you would pick your team, and then every week you had like certain amount. Okay, who do you think won this? Who do you think did this and this and that? So it wasn't quite fantasy football, but yeah, and you would every week.
That's pretty damn close.
Oh boy.
Yeah, there wasn't any Star Wars going on. I had to do something,
I guess. Survivor, though, that's not the one I would pick for you.
Yeah, I got some weird.
I'm surprised you wouldn't want to do the what's it, the Great Race or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, I thought about that too, but that I think me and Missy would wind up killing each other.
Well, you could do it with Zoe.
Yeah, well, that's true. I never thought of that.
Because I've actually thought about doing that one because I think it would be great to see all those different places.
Yeah, now maybe I gotta apply for that too. No, it's just weird. Like, it's weird having Zoe home, and her plan to return to LA is, it's coming together. She has some things she has to, because she's in that weird position where most of the jobs, they want you to have a degree and they want you to have experience, but they want you to pay you inexperienced prices. So I don't know, I keep telling her, I'm going to give you advice, and if I don't know what I'm talking about, just don't listen to me. I mean, that's because I don't know what that world's like. But she wants to, like I said, she found some decently priced places in Koreatown, and I'm telling John, if you decide to move, then just give her a call. Start
living above a bowling alley, or
well, no, but she was
all of my worldly possessions.
She was telling me, like the one apartment she looked at was like $900 for like a single bedroom, whatever, which isn't bad. And one was like $700, but it had no kitchen. But I said to her, look, if you're like in California, the PAs, I think they're guaranteed 12 hours of work a day, right? Like, that's because they don't want people taking PA jobs and not be able to make any money, and they get overtime and all that. So they're guaranteed 12 hours a day. I said, it would not be cost effective to have a kitchen, because for one person, if you're buying groceries and you're working 12-hour days, you're not going to want to come home and cook. And then half the time you're just going to throw most of it out, unless you're really good at it. I said, you just eat off of craft services. That's what Sal told her, because when he used to do like extra work and do music and stuff for stuff. He's like, just you eat from craft services and you just grab something cheap on the way home. So that's how you might have to live for a little bit. You have to rough it. So we'll see. She's gonna possibly apply for substitute teaching while she's here, because if she picks up, there's two big places around here where she wants to get sound production experience and stuff, because that's kind of what kept her from. She said the main question she couldn't answer for Skywalker Sound or whatever was she didn't know the different types of cables and stuff, So I was like, oh damn it, I gotta help you with that one. But so while she's getting that experience, I told her where I teach, if you have a college degree of any kind, they pay you $23 an hour to substitute teach. So I was like,
yikes.
I was like, well, knowing what substitutes go through, that's not a lot of money. they get beat up pretty bad. But I told her if she does it in my district, I can tell her like, well, don't go to that building. You can do, you know what I mean? I can tell her ahead of time. So,
yeah, I did the reason I get wide-eyed at that is because around here they pay $15 an hour flat. No matter if you get a college degree or not.
Well, I think they pay closer to that for substitutes if you don't have it. If you're just out, you have to be 21. I think, no degree of any kind. They pay like $15 an hour, but I don't know. But we're in the DC. For substitute teaching, they pay them a little more because we're in the DC area. They don't pay us as teachers more for that, but apparently substitute teachers get. I don't know, but if you're ever thinking of going to Cali, man. Chase your dreams. So does your theater have a theater in downtown LA?
I'm sure they do, but it's probably falling apart and burning to the ground as we speak.
I think movies are going to be one of those things that come back too, though. I see more and more people coming back to the movies just because it's that experience. There is that experience,
Yeah, I'm hoping Avatar does it. So. Which wasn't a fan of the first one.
Yeah.
I've notoriously been like, it is what it is. Like it's a movie. It exists.
Yeah.
This new one, cinematic masterpiece.
Nice. Two movies I have never seen: Titanic and Avatar.
Do you just not like James Cameron?
Maybe. I remember when they discovered the Titanic, like when it was in National Geographic, and I would watch all these documentaries and this and that. And then when the movie came out, I was like, that doesn't really seem like a story I want to, because I watched the old.
They built like a 98% scale ship.
Well, do you remember the sci-fi picture, The Raising of the Titanic, that came out in the 80s?
That I don't remember.
There was because before they found that ship, scientists thought that if they found the Titanic, it would almost be in pristine condition because they thought it was so deep underwater, there would be no oxygen or organisms that far down in that part of the ocean because of the temperature and all that. And so there was a science fiction movie of them raising the Titanic with these big bladders and bringing it up, and it came up like whole, and there was like a heist on it and stuff. But yeah, it was just weird when it was found.
That was my first date with Heather.
Oh.
So we have a special affinity for that movie.
One of mine was Roxanne. I forget if it was the first. I think my first official one might have been Roxanne with Steve Martin.
Steve Martin.
Yeah.
Was that Daryl Hannah?
Yeah, Daryl Hannah and him with the big nose. Remember he had the big nose? So. And I probably smelled like fried chicken because I was a cook at the time. So.
What a wonderful smell.
Yes. It was right next to Dutch Wonderland where my kids work now.
So actually you brought up movies, you brought up, other conventions and stuff. What if we played a little Star Wars prediction game? Consider we're getting close to the end of the year. What do you think is going to happen with Star Wars over the course of the next 12 months? So in 2023, what are some of the things that you see happening?
I predict 1987 or 1986 all over again, where it's going to, and the same thing that happened to after Revenge of the Sith. You have this, it's almost like a fan backlash because we get so much. You know what I mean? Like and then you have a big chunk of the fans just kind of leave. That's my prediction.
I'm not gonna say that would be a bad thing. Depends on who leaves.
That's true too. But I think Star Wars wise, man, like this year, how much stuff we're gonna get, and me and Ken will have our Mando armor done by then. The back, I have both back plates printed. Oh, we'll go troop time in a minute. But yeah, I think I wonder if Mando season 3 is going to remind people about, I don't know. I think a lot of people have been hard on some of the shows. And I think like Book of Boba Fett kind of didn't get much love. And then I wonder if Mando is going to kind of bring that back.
Yeah, I think it's seriously got some boom or bust potential. I know I'm gonna love it.
Yeah,
I mean, unless they, they put on a black screen for 8 hours, I think it's gonna be very difficult for me not to like it. But when I say boom or bust potential, I don't necessarily mean it's either gonna be the best show or the worst show. I think it's going to be very divisive when it comes to fans. Like, this is either going to bring people back or, like you said, it's going to force people out. So that's my bold prediction for the year.
What do you think, Sam?
I think there'll be some surprises. Whether it's from a storytelling perspective or a technology perspective, I think there will be things that happen in 2023 that we just didn't see coming.
Do you think Iger coming back is going to change anything, or do you think like a lot of this stuff is so set in motion that it doesn't really matter for short term?
Well, I don't think it'll have a short term impact, but I think over the course of 23, I think Bob Iger's return to Disney will pick up the speed of getting back to the movies. Because with the pandemic and with the time, effort, and energy that was put into Disney Plus and the streaming stuff, I think there will be more of an effort to get folks into the theaters. And some levels, fans are asking for that.
Yeah,
they're wanting that big screen situation. They're that out of your house, surrounded by other people kind of thing. And it'll be interesting. I know that Steven from our show, The Forces Behind Star Wars, has talked about it, that he would like to see kind of like what they did with Marvel. They had a couple stories here, a couple stories there, and they all come together. Mm-hmm. And who knows, maybe something around Mandalore or the Mandalorians could be that movie that ties all these parts together. But I do think that Bob Iger is going to put more effort and energy into getting the movies made again.
Yeah,
I think not that I think that the movies failed. I think there's a large amount of other people who would say that the movies have failed recently. Well, even though, like, what was it? Was it The Last Jedi made over $1 billion or whatever, and people still called it a failure?
I'd love to fail like that once in a while.
Yeah.
Well, so and I think them re-releasing Rogue One proved that, because there's a movie that everyone that went and saw it has it on their TV in Disney Plus, probably has it on DVD or Blu-ray, and people still went to the theater and spent money. Even
if it was just for that one weekend.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And see, like the Rogue One, when they released Rogue One out in California, I wish they would have done that in theaters. I wish they would have, here's the first 3 episodes. If you want to see it early, come see it in a theater. I mean, I know the streaming service, but it's the seeing it with people is so much better. And seeing it in a theater, and I said this before on here, you can't have your phone out. You can't be washing the dishes. You have to sit and watch and take your time enjoy it. And the film deserves it, and the people deserve it. Like us as people watching it, we deserve to let ourselves enjoy something for 2 hours, 3 hours. And Zoe just saw all three of them in a movie in LA. There was three. They just did back to back all three.
I saw that. I was actually pretty jealous of that one.
And she hung with Matt Martin all day. That's what I was jealous about. Like, I was born too late. I mean, too early. No, I'm happy for the kid. Matt, she said Matt Martin used to always ask her, "Is your dad okay with you living out here?" Because I guess I come across as a mental patient when she wasn't there. So, but yeah, I mean, I just like, I always enjoy when I see Anthony going to the movies, when I see his posts of movies, because that is one family that loves to watch movies,
Yeah, definitely. And there's a nice little theater nearby. I mean, it's the kind with the reclining seats, and you can either see a regular one or IMAX. So it is a nice place to see films.
So the theater near Hershey, Allen Theater, we went to see Last Jedi there, I believe. And it was nice. It was an old 50s style movie theater. But 4 years before, it was for sale for $450,000. And the people that bought it are doing well because they, but it's just one of those things. I wish it was a little closer because it doesn't have reclining seats. It has the sloping, auditorium seating with the reddish seats that fold up, and a little snack bar that like serves like real food in the front, and the audio of the movie is broadcast into like the bathroom and the lobby. So if you have to leave for something, you can hear what's going on.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
But I'm just so glad, at least around here, it seems like the movie theater is starting to pick back up. So I hope they do more movies where I understand they want to release them on streaming, but give the movie theater some time, So.
Well, and I think we're at the time now where not that we're due, because I don't think we're due anything, but we haven't had a Star Wars movie in the theaters for a couple of years now.
Yeah, I'd like to see Solo in the theater again. That's just like such a fun movie.
Yeah.
As long as so when I first saw Solo, as silly as this may sound, I was not a fan of it because the theater that we saw it in, I don't know if it was the contrast. I don't know what the picture quality was. There were some sections, especially near the beginning, when they were in Proxima's Den and stuff like that. It was hard for me to see, or even in the Imperial like subway station or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like, it was hard to see things, and I didn't enjoy it. And it wasn't until it came out on Blu-ray where I watched it at home and could actually see things a little bit more clearly that I really enjoyed it. Because as you know, one of the things I like about watching these movies is all the little things that they built this costume and they built those props for reasons, and I want to see them. And if I can't see them, I feel like I'm missing out.
Oh, that's one of the reasons why it's hard for me to get into the newer DC movies, because they're all so dark, and I like to see that detail, and that's why I like Rogue One. Rogue One has such good color in the movie itself. If we ever get our 100 other costumes, I do think Shore Troopers would be a good trio costume.
Or the
that
tank
undersuit
trooper.
Is just
the tank trooper.
That undersuit. The undersuit for the Shore Troopers is just so involved.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, I hate it. Our squad leader for Burning River has one, and I was watching him put it on. I'm like, okay, so it's cloth here, but it's ribbed here, and it's a whole different material here, And I was just watching him put it on. I'm like, that looks like a nightmare. Or it looks like a nightmare to put together, or it's a nightmare for your wallet to see.
Yeah. Well, the tank trooper I like. There's a couple good tank troopers, but to make those look right, you gotta be a pretty slim dude, like to make that tank. Like I don't want to buy it, but I couldn't wear the tank trooper. I would, you know. But yeah, I like a lot of the. Well, I wonder. See, that's when we got to check, because what happens is they'll make that detailed shore trooper for Rogue One, and then they'll make a CRL for that shore trooper that was on Andor, and he'll be really easy. You know, it'll be like there's always that one where they half-ass the costume as a, and if they make a CRL for that, oh yeah, he just had a pair of brown khakis on, you know. So
one of the things I've liked recently is not even just the troopers or the full armored folks, but some of the citizens. I mean, I thought one of the great scenes in Rogue One was when they were on Jeddah and there were all those pilgrims, you know, wearing whether it was the big bowl helmet sort of things, or the pilgrim kind of robes where it was a square head with just a little window cut out to view. I thought some of those costumes were pretty creative. And they look so cool when they're in groups, when you have, 2 or 3 of them together.
Well, I do like those prisoners that they're doing, but I was like, I can't have one more costume that I'm spending. I just got my belt for Vader. I found the guy that made vegan leather belt for Vader, and it's nice. So I got, huh?
Vegan Vader belt? No.
Yeah, well, the main reason, other than just being vegan, of course, I got my vegan Doc Martens. That vegan leather lasts longer than regular leather, and you don't have to be as nice to it as you do with regular leather. You know, like, because it's synthetic. It's like a petroleum product, so it's it lasts. But this has the riveted belt clip and everything on it. I just got to put the buckle on it.
So that's awesome. I got that dog ringing the bell. I'll be right back.
I'm sorry, what?
Did you 3D print the belt buckle?
I have. I just have to. I have to treat it. It's just been so cold. I'm just at the point where I just don't want to. I don't feel like wasting the time or spray paint when it's super cold. You know, like I heated up the stuff, and I did the one belt box. I could still see some print lines, so I wet sanded the whole top, and then I hit it with some clear coat of the Duplo color clear coat, and then I'm gonna wet sand it again, and then I'll hit it with the black just to save the black. You like, if I wore it, you probably wouldn't see the print lines unless you stand at a weird angle. But I'm like, it doesn't take that much more effort to get the print lines out, because I know once I put it together, I'm not going to take it apart and get the print lines out. But that Duplo color with no spray filler it's kind of amazing how little I need to do. So,
well, it doesn't help that you're also printing things at like 10,000ths of a millimeter per layer.
Yeah. Well, I figure my one printer, I might put a 0.2 nozzle on it and just keep it. It'll just be a 0.2 nozzle if I need something, you know. Again, I'm still a little weird at these 3D files that are someone's copying everyone's files. It's just funny because I find it hard to believe that all these same guys have the same file named the same thing, and it's the same size. So 2 or 3 of them are just copying the other guy's file.
Right.
So I don't know how all that works, but like I said, these are done. I ordered liquid resin. I'm going to try to make these in liquid resin, but I got Ken and I each a belt for these. Though what I think I'd like to do with these, what I'd like to do is drill these out and put a rare earth magnet here, and then just put a piece of plastic, real thin, like Mylar plastic, over them, so they'll lock in place when they're centered. Because I've seen guys that have made these out of metal, and then they put but then you still have to push them on because the magnet grabs right away. This way, if you put it in the center, it would just. But I don't know how well that's going to hold up, like belt wise, but that's printed with like 40% infill. But it's, well, I wanted to make it real. I wanted to make these, which probably doesn't matter, but the things that go over your belt, I wanted to make those relatively rigid. But I think what I do is when I put the belt through it, I'll probably glue the belt to it as well. So if one of these break, it won't matter.
Right. Yeah, I still haven't printed those for mine.
I can print you a set if you want. It's on my small printer. I'll print them for you.
I'm not pressed about it, honestly. Okay. Because I don't think I'll ever go for an approval with that costume.
Yeah.
Well, and if I do, I'm going to reprint everything.
Well, you got the hard part done. See, after printing this, I realized like I have a full jetpack for my Boba Fett. I think it's too big. I think it's scaled too large. Because I gotta what I'll do is I'm gonna have to take stills and do when I did with Zoe's, I was always meticulous. I'm not as meticulous with my own stuff, but I'm gonna have to see because again, some of this Boba Fett armor I see, like my armor's fine, but I think the back plate and the jetpack are too big. I think they're just out of proportion. So because like I said, these were all out of whack. So these are 2 inches. Yeah. But again, I think if I print these separate pieces, I can either I can make these clear resin, but I'm either going to just put a push button light or put something where you twist it. I just haven't decided how. If I get to the point where I'm working on these, then things are all going pretty good.
What all have you gotten printed so far? What
all I got so far? So I have both gauntlets printed, hand plates, back and front, both shoulder bells. And so now I have to print the, let's see. I think I got everything. Oh, I got to print the side pieces.
Okay.
I got to print those side pieces, and then I'll start on the legs, and then I'm done. Because I'm printing everything duplicate. Nothing's running right now. But,
yeah, I still need to try and decide. Because I've, after getting a few troops in, now I'm kind of like, okay. It'd be nice to have another costume.
Get that TK done.
I know. I got to do it.
The TK is nice because it doesn't matter who's there. The TKs always get love from the people. Because that's iconic to everybody.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to cut something on accident.
Start low. Start at the legs. Do your first cuts. Just do the back of the legs. And if score and snap is the way Marty does them, he scores his and just snaps it. So watch the Trooper Bay videos. Go to Trooper Bay.
I did, and I couldn't follow it. Honestly.
Oh, really? I just liked his method of doing it. His method is what got me. Okay, I can cut it. And just again, you start with the legs, and you just start doing it. Just do one leg. Just do a lower leg, the forearms. You want to get those. And in the only thing I would recommend on those is in the inside, use sign material. Like a garage sale sign. You buy one of those, and so you can make a nice inner strip and clamp it. And you can either use E6000 or whatever, or super glue and kicker. It just depends on how you want to work. And then
because I've got a forearm done.
Yeah, so and if you use any kind of glue that you're worried about splooging out, before you glue it, put blue tape down. So before you lay your outer strip, put blue tape down where the edge of the strip's going to lie. So if any glue squirts out, it's going to go on that blue tape, and then you can peel that off. But the armor, again, when I was building 000, I got too focused in on the little stuff that no one was going to see. And you realize once you get it all together, it looks good. It's like the first ding you get on your car. You're the only one that's going to see it.
Yeah. I don't know. Because I'm also like I'm still toying with the idea of doing a clone.
Yeah.
Because I was watching the Siege of Mandalore arc from the Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching. I'm like, wouldn't it be so nice to be a 501st, a 332nd, a Rex even?
You should do a Rex. If you do anything, you should do a Rex.
See, but then I'm going to do the realistic Rex, and that's just a whole nother can of worms.
No, do the animated phase 1, or well, look, you got the helmet. You could do the pilot.
But I love.
Yeah, I know, but I'm telling you, with the animation coming out, so.
I know. I gotta pick something. But look how beautiful this figure is.
I know. Yeah, do a Rex. I'll do a Keeley.
Ken can do Cody.
So.
Yeah, that's the other one that I'm tossing around. Like, do I wait until Bad Batch Season 2 comes out and do the Imperial Cody? Because I think that grayscale look to him is just gorgeous.
Well, you should watch for Kevin Weir at Imperial Surplus. Watch if he ever has his seconds sale. Like he'll have a garage sale and sell seconds. Because a lot of times the seconds is thin, and you can fix that pretty easy. You know, like he's like, if you have a thin pool on vacuum form, you can back that with fiberglass. As long as you know it's the problem with thin vacuum forming is, if you know ahead of time, you can fix it. If you find out when you're cutting it that it's too late, like you have to kind of, like, if you have a one with a thin spot, you fiberglass that sucker first and then do your cut, so you don't mess up the outer part. So, but I would watch for his sales and watch for his. Sometimes he runs like garage sales. I was hoping he had one when Zoe was over there, because I was going to have her take because he literally just puts whole boxes out on the street and sells it like a garage sale, you know.
We couldn't get her to go to Jump USA, Magic Jump. Think she'd be able to go to a helmet garage sale for us?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm gonna I wish I had. I wish it was spring, because I really wish I would have cast that armor that I have, the clone armor. I wish I would have cast that and made, because I could just make I can make fiberglass suits of that, because Watchtower Studio does not make armor anymore, so they don't care.
You should have cast it then.
I know. That's just money. Like, that chest piece alone would probably cost $600 to cast. So,
yeah,
if everything goes well, and but I'll keep an eye out.
How much you could make back?
Huh?
Think of how much you could make back.
Yeah, I'll keep my eye out for used clone armor, though, because there's a lot of it out there. Like our garrison alone, we probably had 40 people in clone armor. I don't know where it went. You know, they did a run of 28 suits when he first made it, when the Clone Wars first came out, and half those guys never made the armor, so it's sitting somewhere in someone's garage in a box.
Well, I mean, if you can
get put Toga out on a hunt.
Yeah,
no kidding. Yeah, if you can get a fantastic deal on it, like you did,
I'll keep my eyes open for it. I mean, you know, I just got to figure out who to ask. Marty had a couple. Like I said, what's nice about it is the Weir armor is, if you just do a generic clone, you can take that pilot helmet, put magnets underneath it, put the chest box on, same armor. You have a twofer.
Well, that's how 90% of the clones are.
Yep.
It's like the armor's not different. It's just the paint job, the color scheme. Yep. Or like with oh my god, my mind just the 332nd and the 501st.
Yeah.
Just a different helmet.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I like clones, but again, it's it's a tight fit for me. So because that diaper is a pain. That's why I'm doing Keeley, because then I can put the kilt thing on the sides and the you can kind of fudge parts of the armor for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the clones. That's that's my bread and butter. So.
Oh yeah.
Fun.
I'm so excited that we're still getting more content connected to the clones.
Yep.
I think there's so many stories that are possible in that era and with those characters.
And the plus side to just where Star Wars is now. So I have my robotics team, and I have this one girl she's one of my chief programmers, and she's never watched Star Wars ever, and she makes fun of it that we have Star Wars as our team, whatever. So I said to her, because she's a big anime fan, like her bag's anime, I said, you should watch Star Wars Visions and see if you like that, because she's a big anime. So she's going to watch them this week. So when I see them on Friday, she's going to tell me if she liked it or not. It's just funny. There's so many entries into Star Wars now.
Mm-hmm.
Not too many years ago, you had the people that were like, well, I don't like animation, and I don't like, and now it's just all this story group, whether people like it or not, has made it possible to enjoy all of it, and it all matters.
And possibly just enjoy parts of it. I mean, look at how much effort and energy they've put into the High Republic.
Yeah.
The High Republic already has an art of book. And there's, other than the comics and the covers, there's no other visual component to the High Republic.
Right.
It's all story.
Well, and you know what's funny? So in Star Wars Insider, they always put a High Republic short story. So, they are really, I like the High Republic. I haven't read much of it. I like it. I think the High Republic is one of these days, it's going to appear to everybody, and a lot of people are going to be caught off guard. Whether it's a TV show, animation, or a movie, people are going to be like, what?
That's the Acolyte. The Acolyte is going to be that connection between the High Republic and Phantom Menace.
And which is kind of cool, because then these people that are going to see it for the first time, they're going to be like, hey, look, here's X amount of years of story. Zoe's big on it. Her and Sal actually just did a podcast on 2 of the books. So I think it just went up today. So,
and I think one of the other brilliant parts about the High Republic is they took the approach that George took, that it starts with the story first, and then the visuals come in, and there's that place where the visuals and the story go back and forth to create something.
Yep.
So they use the visuals to inform the stories for the High Republic. Even before the stories were made, a lot of there were artists like Ian McCraig who came up with concept art for some of the characters. This is what we want this character to be like, and so when you're writing the stories that include these characters, keep this in mind. And that book is beautiful and fun, because you get to see some of those behind the scenes kind of things, which, as you guys know, I just absolutely eat up.
Yeah. Well, on top of, did you see the pictures for the Acolyte, or no? Yeah, the Acolyte.
They have a Wookiee Jedi.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Zoe was telling me that, so the guy she met out there that worked on Disney or worked on Star Wars stuff, he was telling her that anytime shots got leaked from any of the shows, the security guards on duty got fired.
Wow.
So, like, if they found out, look, that picture was taken when she said, so that made me feel bad about every time I look at leaks now.
Well, you're not the one that leaked it.
Yeah, I know. I just feel, it's just, I don't know.
But many security guards got fired
to bring us this
information.
Yeah.
It's funny. Like, when are we gonna get an on-screen Bothan? Do you think that'll ever happen?
I'm sure whatever we get, 1 million people will complain about it. It's not you ruined my childhood.
That's not what I thought a Bothan was.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, I just got a text that I got to pick Zoe up at the train station. I'm always picking this kid up. I got like 5 minutes left. She went to Philly. She went to Philly to visit friends, and I guess we're supposed to be getting some big snowstorm here or something. Are you getting one, Ken?
I haven't heard. I know it's chilly here.
My school I just got a text about 20 minutes ago that I had a 2-hour delay tomorrow. So yeah, I still gotta go in I gotta go in regular time.
But you get more time to yourself.
That's true. I can undo the damage I did today from breaking a computer. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I think we're back to what 2023 is. I just hope every year just gives us new Star. I hope that the negative voices of the fandom get drowned out by people just liking it. Because I
can get behind that.
I'm almost to the point which I don't want to ever just block stuff because you don't want to have your head in the sand and not go. But I'm getting so tired of the clickbait of evil. And what's the one there's one podcast, I'm not going to say their name here, but there's one podcast that always comes up as a good Star Wars podcast, and it's a terrible Star Wars podcast. They're like bigoted and all this kind of stuff, but it still has its fame from when it was associated with Lucasfilm. Like I somehow wish that kind of stuff would just go away. Like in my feed.
I'm with you on that.
Because if you search, which one I'm talking about. If you search Star Wars podcast,
I think so.
Yeah, and that one always comes up, and that just it just bothers me because you and I know what's a good Star Wars podcast, or we at least know what you shouldn't listen to, and then the new podcast listener listens to that, and chances are hopefully it turns them off. Unfortunately, it turns them off because that podcast, the way it's gone. And because that's the podcast that basically got all the podcasts knocked off of StarWars.com. You remember they used to have a list of podcasts on Star Wars?
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they used to have a whole list of Star Wars podcasts, like Full of Sith and good ones. And that I forget what that podcast did. It was a whole thing. And that's when they were like, look, we can't be dealing with this nonsense.
So with that in mind, there's two other wishes that I would make, and I know the first one's really hard, and that is I wish folks would remember the joy they had when they saw something for the first time. And I know you can't go back to that experience of seeing that movie. We'll say Star Wars: A New Hope, watching A New Hope for the first time in 1977. We can't do that. However, we can sit down in the theater, and it doesn't matter what movie it is, whether it's the new Avatar movie, a new anime movie, or a new Star Wars movie, to just sit down in the theater and watch what's on the screen.
Yep.
Just enjoy the fact that people put time, effort, energy, creativity, and money into this thing and are willing to share it with you.
Well, yeah. It's why the Marvel after credit scenes are so great, because you sit there and watch that list of people that just helped entertain you for even if you pay the most outrageous price for your ticket at $20. All those people focused on that.
Yes,
you can't get two people to come fix your toilet for $20. You know what I mean? Let alone entertain you for 3 hours.
Yep.
And
the other wish that I would have is, and this is probably also challenging, when you watch something, to allow it to be it and not necessarily have to compare it to everything else. Even with Andor, and I know we enjoyed watching Andor, but I don't think that any of us on this particular flight said that this was better than that for all these reasons, or this is worse than that for all these reasons. We appreciated it for what it was. We thanked the makers for all the energy they put into it, and we're ready for the next thing.
Yep. Yeah, comparison lists are always tough. And I still like your saying how things are a mosaic now. Because it's hard for me to say my favorite Star Wars because it depends. And as soon as you start comparing, it's just like when they were, instead of saying Andor's sets were so wonderful, they used it as a way to bash the volume, which was this miracle 2 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, why can't, you know, it? I don't know. It goes back to my way back when they used to make fun of Jar Jar. You're making fun of a character that is fully CGI. You're missing the point.
Yes.
You know, besides the story point, you're missing that the CG is so good that you hate that character. You know what I mean? Like, so. But I gotta roll and pick her up. I am sorry for this last minute pickup thing, but she can't get home tomorrow, so I have to go pick her up at the train station. But look, we're getting better at our time management. I am working on our soundboard. I am going to try to have the soundboard working next week. So the soundboard I have planned out will be on a website. I'm going to build it in HTML, or at least a website thing, so then we could all use it. However, like, that's the plan. So it's written out and the code has been started. We'll see. It's more just going to be how the timing works for it. And I'm just going to try to start building a soundboard. And then we will have that. And then by New Year's, hopefully we'll be able to finish this. I'll be able to push a button and it'll go to Anchor. So I got 2 weeks. I got 2 weeks to finish it up. So that's the plan.
No rush.
Well, I always need a deadline. I will tell you that. Just like I said, I would always promote my kid first. Also, if you don't give me a deadline, it just gets piled onto the giant pile of never-ending projects. So,
yeah.
All right. Good night, everyone that's listened. I don't know if we have anybody. I don't know if the stream even connected to Facebook today. So.